Hello everybody, what's going on? This is Andrew, and today I'm going to tell you the story of Pokemon trainer Sarah. Sarah watched her friends Andrew and Aaron take on the Nuzlocke challenge in Hoenn. Now if you're not familiar with the Nuzlocke, the rules are going to be on screen right now. But to summarize, you can only catch the first Pokemon you run into on any route, and if a Pokemon faints, it is dead forever. So, Sarah watched Andrew and Aaron, and Aaron's success filled her with hope. But Andrew's loss left her feeling empty. She saw an opportunity to pick up where Andrew left off, to finish what he started. So she smuggled herself into Hoenn in the back of a truck and picked the left behind Mudkip as her starter. Alpha and Sarah were ready to take on Hoenn. Her first challenge came as she encountered Brendan on Route 103. He challenges her to her first real Pokemon battle, and the first battle where she could potentially lose her starter Mudkip. Luckily, she had a chance to level up Mudkip before this battle, and so after exchanging a few blows, is able to take down Brendan's Trico and set a winning tone for the rest of her journey. After defeating Brendan, she follows him back to the Pokemon Lab where he gives her the Pokeballs. Eager to leave Little Root behind, Sarah heads to Route 101 to find her first new team member, a Wurmple, which she weakens and eventually catches before giving the nickname Beta and continuing on towards Oldale Town. On the way to Petalburg Woods, Sarah's Wurmple Beta evolved into a Cascoon, meaning that Dustox would be this Wurmple's final evolution. In the woods, Sarah found and caught a Tailo, which she named Knights, and she added it to the party to join Mudkip, Cascoon, and a Poochyena and a Marill that she'd caught along the way. Later on in the woods, Sarah helped a man fight off a would-be assailant dressed in blue. Beta battled well, and shortly after the battle, evolved into its final form, Dustox. Dustox has a really high defense and will be really useful for parts of this run. Sarah also caught another Poochyena and sent it to the box for now. Next, it was time for Sarah to take on the Rustboro City gym leader, Roxanne, and her Rock-type Pokemon. Luckily for Sarah, her Mudkip Alpha is a huge asset in this battle, as Water Gun can easily one-shot both of Roxanne's Geodudes. During the battle, Alpha also levels up to level 15 and learns Bide, which could come in handy later on. With both Geodudes down, Mudkip only needs to worry about the Nosepass, which can still be scary because Nosepass does have a pretty high defense and special defense stat. After a couple water guns, Nosepass does hit a Rock Tomb, which lowers Alpha's speed and does a decent chunk of damage. Luckily though, Alpha is up to the task, hits a couple more water guns, and leaves Nosepass with just a sliver of health, which baits Roxanne into healing once again. Luckily, Alpha dodges a crit, and may have lived the crit anyways, knocks out the Nosepass and wins Sarah her first gym badge. And after the battle, Mudkip, after gaining 2 levels in the battle, evolves into Marshtomp and picks up the ground typing and Lurden's Mudshot, which is a great move to know at this point in the game. After learning that the same Team Aqua grunt from earlier had stolen some Devon goods and an old man's Wingull, Sarah knew that she had to track him to the Rustboro Tunnel, where Knights was able to easily take out his Poochyena. After reclaiming the stolen goods, Sarah returned them to the Devon Company and to Mr. Briny. The president of Devon wants Sarah to go to Dewford Town to deliver a letter to his son. Sarah is happy to help, as the second gym is in Dewford Town as well. So after tracking down Mr. Briny at his house, she sets sail with him and makes land in Dewford Town. Upon arriving, the first thing Sarah does is go to Granite Cave to find Steven to deliver the letter. On the way, she runs into an Abra in the cave. Now, Abra can be notoriously difficult to catch, and unfortunately this Abra does not get in the Pokeball, so Sarah misses a catch here in Granite Cave. Sarah eventually finds Steven in the back of Granite Cave. He thanks her for delivering the letter and encourages her to keep training because she has the potential to be champion one day. Then he leaves. Sarah took Alpha, Beta, and Knights straight to the gym to do some training. But they weren't quite a high enough level to take on the gym leader Brawley yet. So she zips over to Slateport, where there's more trainers to battle, and she has a chance to add a new member to her team. Unluckily though, she just runs into a couple more Poochyena. Sarah at this point realizes that she has quite a few Poochyena in the box. Maybe they can be useful later on. She names this Poochyena Legends, sends it to hang out with the other Poochyena, and makes her way back to Dewford, where she is ready to challenge Brawly. Brawly's fighting type Pokemon can pack quite a punch, so Sarah will need to be careful to not lose any members in this gym battle. She leads with Dustox because Dustox resists all of Machop's attacks and uses Confusion to whittle it down. Dustox also has a pretty high defense stat, so it's pretty safe starting out with Dustox. After a few confusions, Machop faints. Next, Brawly sends out his Meditite. Now, Meditite could be scary if it knew more than one attack. Luckily, this Meditite only knows Focus Punch, so it's pretty safe to just spam attacking moves and watch the Meditite go down eventually. Luckily for Sarah, Brawly uses a Super Potion here, which means he'll have one less Super Potion for his very tough Makuhita, which is his last Pokemon. Sarah switches to Marshtomp to battle the Makuhita and hits a Mud Shot, which lowers Makuhita's speed. This speed drop is pretty nice because that means Sarah will continue going first. Unfortunately for Sarah, this Makuhita packs a punch and Alpha gets really low. Sarah decides to take a note from Brawly and heal her Alpha with a Soda Pop that she picked up in Slateport, and after that, Marshtomp is safe to hit another Mud Shot and win Sarah the battle. After the gym battle, Sarah spent some time training Legends before Brendan challenged her to another battle. This battle can be scary, but Sarah's prepared. Alpha is who Sarah chooses to lead because his Mud Shot can easily take care of Slugma. And then a switch to Knights on the Grovyle ensures the type advantage. Knights gets hit by a pursuit, but its wing attack drops Grovyle low enough that a follow-up quick attack can easily take it out. Knights levels up and learns Double Team, but is a little too hurt to stay in. So, Sarah switches to Legends for his first real action. Bite does decent damage, but one hit from Wingull does way more than Sarah expected. So, she swaps back into Alpha, who's bulky enough to tank attacks, while slowly whittling away at the Wingull with some water guns. With Brendan finally out of the way, Sarah can move on. Sarah needs to train a bit before the next gym, and while training Legends, he reaches level 18, which means he's ready to evolve into Mightyena. Now that he's gotten a stat boost and learned the Intimidate ability, he'll make a great addition to the team. Sarah then finds another Poochyena to add to her team, and names this one the Dark. I think she's finally decided at this point to embrace these Poochyena and become the best Mightyena trainer she can be. After Knights evolves into Swallow, she decides to take her team to the next gym. But before she can challenge the gym, she has to battle some kid with a Ralts? This battle's really straightforward. Legends is a Dark type and knows Bite, and easily one-shots this kid's Ralts. After breezing through Watson's gym trainers, Sarah knew that Alpha the Marshtomp would have an easy time with Watson. A couple of Mud Shots take care of all of Watson's first 3 Pokemon due to Alpha's ground typing, and while Manectric does survive a hit, there's really nothing Watson can do but prolong the inevitable as he heals a little bit. A couple more Mud Shots take down the Manectric, earning Sarah her 3rd gym badge. Because the Dark was holding the experience share, he evolved after the battle with Watson. Sarah then backtracked and grabbed the Black Glasses to power up her dog's Dark type attacks, and moved on to the Fiery Path, where she ran into none other than the Fire Turtle Torkoal himself. Sarah was pretty excited to add Torkoal to the team. She thought that he would be a pretty valuable member and round out the type coverage of her team pretty well. She named Torkoal 4th, and knew that she needed to backtrack to train Torkoal up a little bit. So she headed to Cycling Road, where Torkoal fought Magnemite after Magnemite after Magnemite after Magnemite to really level up. Once Torkoal had caught up with everybody, Sarah moved on to Route 113, where she fought this double battle against some random trainers. Now, normally this battle would be pretty easy. She's got the type advantage, everything looks good. But she forgot that Coughings can sometimes know the move Self-Destruct. This was a terrifying battle as Alpha and Beta were in danger, and Sarah learned to be more careful moving forward. Sarah was told to go to the top of Mount Chimney. On the way, she picked up the TM for Dig, which would be useful later, and then she headed to the top of the mountain where she found Maxie. Now, this is another battle that can be kind of dangerous due to Maxie's Camerupt. Sarah was a little underleveled going into this battle, which was a mistake that she will try to correct moving forward. She started the battle with Torkoal against Mightyena, and after a couple embers and some body slams, realized that the battle wasn't off to a good start. So she healed up Torkoal, and Maxie switched to Camerupt. Camerupt is scary because it knows Earthquake, so Sarah switched to Knights to chip in for some damage before switching back to Machop. Machop can do a lot of damage, but just misses the KO with Water Gun, and Water Gun is the correct move here due to its 4 times effectiveness, and because Burn cuts down on Machop's attack. Beta switches in to tank some attacks from Mightyena, but does pitiful damage in return, so Sarah switches in Legends and uses Rock Smash to start taking down the Mightyena with some super effective damage. She's hoping for some defense drops here and doesn't really get any. Mightyena keeps lowering her attack, and so the battle just kind of goes back and forth with neither dealing too much damage. Eventually she needs to switch into the Dark, who takes over and eventually takes out the Mightyena with a tackle. Last up is Maxie's Zubat, which is an easy 2-shot for Torkoal. With this battle out of the way, Sarah can grab the Meteorite and head down the mountain towards Lava Ridge Town, where she runs into a Machop. Machop can be a great addition to the team because of its Guts ability, so Sarah makes sure to be careful not to knock out the Machop and catch it to add to her team. She nicknames the Machop Alliances and sends it to the box for now. While traveling in a different region, Sarah came across a Machamp, and this is what she thought of Machamp when she saw it for the first time.
Weird.
Machamp, come here.
Don't like it.
Look, he's flexing. He's flexing for us.
It's like a backpack, but arms.
So obviously she was very excited to add Machop to the team. Up next was a battle with the 4th Generator Flannery, but before that, Sarah picked up this egg from an old lady near the hot springs, and Sarah backtracked a bit to Falarber Town, where she gave the professor his Meteorite back. In exchange, he gave her the TM for Return, a move that's power increases based on the bond Sarah has with her Pokemon. Flannery is often the first real challenge for young Nuzlockers, and for Sarah this was no exception. Even though Marshtomp was her starter, this battle was a slog, and not as straightforward as you first might think. Alpha can easily take out the Numel and deal decent damage to the Slugma with Water Gun, but here is where it starts to go wrong. Alpha gets poisoned by Slugma, which means he can't stay in anymore. So after checking the team's special defense stats and figuring out who could maybe tank an attack, she switches to Legends to deal with the Camerupt. She tells the Legends to use Sand Attack on the Camerupt to try to avoid some attacks, but unfortunately this doesn't work and Legends gets hit by an overheat which takes it down in one shot. With Camerupt's lowered stats, Sarah figures that 4th, the Torkoal, can take a couple hits while she heals up her Marshtomp. 4th gets hit by an Attract, and Sarah decides to use a P.E.K.K.A Berry to heal Marshtomp. Camerupt sets up Sunny Day while Sarah continues to heal her Marshtomp, knowing that Marshtomp's going to be the key to victory in this battle. Torkoal does connect with a Fire Spin, which will deal a little bit of damage over time and whittle away the Camerupt. The 2 tanky fire types trade blows, and eventually Torkoal does hit a Body Slam, which paralyzes Camerupt. Now Sarah feels safe to switch Marshtomp back into the battle. Marshtomp does get hit by a tackle, but can finish off Camerupt with a critical hit Mudshot. Next is Flannery's own Torkoal. Mudshot does kind of pitiful damage, and Alpha is getting hit by these Body Slams, and gets paralyzed. Now Sarah has to switch Marshtomp out so she can heal it again. Unfortunately, 4th isn't up to the task, as it gets paralyzed as Sarah heals Alpha and then taken out by an overheat. Not only is this Sarah's second loss of the battle, but Torkoal's White Herb restores its special attack drop. Sarah sends out the Dark to get an Intimidate off, but forgets that White Smoke, Torkoal's ability, stops Intimidate from working. Sarah still needs to heal Alpha, so she hopes the Dark can take a hit, but he can't, and he also goes down. Now it's all up to Alpha. Mudshot deals decent damage, and Torkoal spends a turn setting up Sunny Day. Luckily, Torkoal can't take advantage of the sun, and Mudshot doesn't miss, netting Alpha and Sarah the victory. Sarah's gonna have to rebuild her team from here, but at least she made it through. Before moving on, Sarah says goodbye to her trusted friends, Forth the Torkoal, Legends the Mightyena, and the Dark the Mightyena. Without their sacrifices, Sarah wouldn't have defeated Flannery. To start rebuilding, Sarah adds Dustox and alliances the Machop to her team. She knows how valuable Machop's typing will be against Norman, the next gym leader. But before the next gym, Sarah took a stroll through the local desert. She entered Mirage Tower and caught a Sandshrew, which she aptly named Mirage. She ascended the tower and took the root fossil, knowing that a Cradily could be a really good addition to the team later on. Outside the tower, Sarah ran into a Trapinch, which she also caught. Back at the Devon building in Rustboro City, you can talk to this professor, who's been researching how to bring fossils back to life. Sarah turns over the root fossil and gets a Lileep back. She adds it to the team and names it Fifth. Now, unfortunately for Sarah, things were going to get a little worse before they got better. While training up against the Windstrait family just north of Mauville, she sent out Knights to battle a Metatite. Knights was pretty over-leveled here, so Sarah figured that one shot would take out the Metatite. Unfortunately, Knights was paralyzed on a crucial turn, and then the Metatite hit a critical hit high jump kick, taking Knights out in a single blow. While heading back to Petalburg to scope out the gym, the egg that Sarah had been carrying around finally hatched into a cute little Wynot. What could this thing do? She named it Portal and kept it with her for now, just in case. During a training session, Alliances the Machop, Portal the Wynot, and Mirage the Sandshrew all evolved into a Machoke, Wobbuffet, and Sandslash. Sarah's team was finally powered up and she was ready to take on the next gym. Sarah just had one thing to do before starting the gym battle. She went and had Machoke fight against some local Wurmples. Now why did she do this? Because Machoke has the Guts ability, which means that its attack stat is raised if it has a status condition. So, poisoning the Machoke beforehand gives Machoke a huge power-up, which should be really, really useful going into the gym battle. Against Norman, Sarah decides to lead alliances against his Spinda. To get the most out of Machoke's power, she goes for a bulk up on the first turn. However, she totally forgot that Spinda has Psybeam, and Machoke takes a lot of damage. On the next turn, Machoke knocks out the Spinda with a Karate Chop. Alliances stays in, and even though he's outsped and takes a hit, he's able to take out the Vigoroth in a single hit. Against Linoon, the plan starts to fall apart. Alliances has taken too much damage and needs to be healed, so over the next few turns, Sarah heals Alliances with a few Soda Pops. Unfortunately, at the end of this healing, Linoon hits a critical hit headbutt that leaves Alliances with just 11 HP. However, poison damage is dealing exactly 11 HP worth of damage, and so Alliances goes down to poison after using bulk up to prepare for slacking. Rest in peace, Alliances. Thank you so much for your help. Alpha came out next, and after a really tedious back and forth, getting Norman to waste both of his hyper potions on Linoon, and healing Alpha quite a bit, Alpha's finally able to take down the Linoon and force Norman to send out his ace, Slacking. Sarah sent out the newest member of her team, Fifth the Lileep, to confuse the Slacking before switching into Beta the Dustox. Dustox knows the move Protect, which against Slacking with its Truant ability can be really cheesy. You can protect on each of Slacking's attacking turns and then attack Slacking when it's loafing around. Using this strategy, even the underleveled Beta can chip in for some damage against Slacking. Or it would be able to if Sarah didn't accidentally select an attack instead of Protect on a turn when Slacking was attacking. Beta gets hit hard by a Facade and dies instantly. Sorry, Beta. Sarah had lost 2 Pokemon in this gym battle, and she wasn't about to lose a third. She had one more strategy up her sleeve, and she sent out Mirage the Sandslash. Mirage's high defense makes him a really good choice for this battle. Mirage just spams Defense Curl on turns when Slacking would use Counter to deal massive damage, and then just attacks with Slash on the turns that Slacking's loafing around. Now, this takes a little bit of time because Mirage isn't dealing a ton of damage, but eventually Slacking does go down, Mirage only takes a little bit of damage from Feint Attack, and Sarah wins the battle. 2 Pokemon died for it, but Sarah made it through. Alliances in Beta, you will be missed. While running an errand in New Mauville, Sarah caught a Voltorb named Weatherlight, and then later on Route 118 ran into a Kecleon. Kecleon's a really strong normal type that Sarah happily added to the team. Then, while training up her new team members, a Tentacool brutally crit Weatherlight and knocked it out. Sarah did catch the Murderous Tentacool and kept it around just in case she might need it for any reason. Next, we'll skip forward a bit to where Sarah runs into Brendan just outside Fortree City. He's pretty easy this time around, so we're going to skip the battle, but we'll battle him one last time, don't worry. Sarah's next encounter is an Oddish, which she catches and names P2. While training for the 6th gym, Sarah's Pokemon catch Pokerus, which gives them all double EVs from battling. Pokerus will rarely attach to your Pokemon after a battle. It happens about once every 21,000 battles. So this was kinda cool. Also, while prepping for the next gym and taking on the gym trainers, Wobbuffet ends up dying to a Pursuiting Doduo. Pursuit deals double damage if you try to switch a Pokemon out, and so when Sarah tried to save Wobbuffet here, it ended up getting hit by a massive Pursuit and dying. Wobbuffet had been doing a lot of work off screen, and I was really excited to show Wobbuffet off during this gym battle, but that just didn't happen, unfortunately. Sorry, Wobbuffet. Sarah would avenge her fallen Wobbuffet against Winona, the gym leader. Alpha leads and easily deals with Swablu after taking minor damage, while T, the Kecleon, is able to trade blows with Tropius and take it down with strength eventually. They go back and forth a little bit, but Kecleon was fine. For Winona's Pelipper, Sarah switched back into Alpha and started using Return. At this point in the game, Alpha's friendship is pretty high, so Return is doing a lot of damage now. Sarah ends up having to heal Alpha because he keeps hitting himself in confusion, but eventually, Alpha takes down the Pelipper and stays in to hit Skarmory for lots of damage with Surf, though it just deals under half. Winona eventually heals, but another couple of Surfs take Skarmory back to the red. Alpha heals and then takes Skarmory out. Mirage was Sarah's secret weapon against Altaria this whole time, as its high defense makes it really safe against Altaria's attack. Mirage hits 3 Rock Tombs and pretty easily takes care of Altaria, while only taking minor damage from Altaria's Earthquakes. That's Sarah's 6th badge in the bag. On the way to Lilycove City, P2 the Oddish evolved into Gloom, and then later on Mount Pyre, Alpha evolved into his final form, Swampert. While on Mount Pyre, Sarah grabbed the TM for Shadow Ball. Then, Sarah went to check up on Maxie, who blamed her for picking the wrong colored orb. Come on, you grabbed the blue orb to wake up the red Pokemon Groudon? In his rage, Maxie starts a battle with Sarah. Swampert comes out first and trades blows with his Mightyena. Intimidate cuts Alpha's attacks, so this does take a little bit of back and forth, and Maxie heals Mightyena, but eventually Alpha's able to take out the Mightyena. Next up is his Crobat, so Sarah switches into her Sandslash. One Rock Tomb does massive damage and Sandslash is able to tank the attacks pretty well. A Slash and another Rock Tomb after Maxie heals is enough to take it out. His final Pokemon is a Camerupt, which, luckily for Sarah, goes down to 1 Surf from Swampert. And that's Maxie defeated. While doing some training on an abandoned ship, Sarah finds the TM for Ice Beam, which she knows will be useful. And then she returns to Lilycove City, where her rival is waiting for one more battle. He leads with Tropius, and Sarah starts with T the Kecleon. T takes it out easily with 2 strengths. Then Pelipper comes out and gets knocked out by a single Shockwave from T. Nice job. Next up is Slugma versus Sarah's Mirage, and Mirage shows no mercy, landing a crit with Rock Tomb. For his Grovyle, Sarah switches in 5th to Lileep. Lileep sets up a few Amnesias and confuses Grovyle, and after a heal from Sarah, can easily take out Grovyle with some Acids, which is safe now due to the special defense raises from Amnesia. Defeating Grovyle levels 5th up to level 40, where he finally evolves into a Cradily. While snooping around Archie's office for clues as to where he may have taken the stolen submarine, Sarah finds an Electrode. She thought this meeting was so unique, so interesting, that she caught it, rescued it from Archie, and named it Destiny. Destiny goes to the box for now, but Sarah's got plans. Next up was another encounter Sarah had been hoping for. While researching in another region, Sarah had come across Spheal, and she was so enamored by it that she knew that she'd catch one day if she found it, and luckily in Shoal Cave she did. I was able to get in contact with Sarah's old research partner, and he sent me some clips of Sarah's reaction when she first discovered Spheal. Let's watch.
Yes! Look at the little bird
surfing.
back there.
That's Piplup.
Piplup?
Yeah, it's one of the starter Pokemon from the 4th
This
generation.
is pretty too. Yes!
I'm getting real like Bidoof vibes up from Spheal.
Yes! I love the ones that look happy, and he looks so happy.
It does look very happy. Just like Spheal.
It
Oh, it rolls!
Is that how it moves?
I guess so.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
That's just so good.
That's really good. So it goes without saying that Sarah could not add Spheal to the team fast enough. Prophecy joined the crew. And after just a little bit of training, Prophecy evolved into Celio, its next form. While not as rotund as Spheal, Celio definitely added some power to Sarah's team. Sarah evolved one more Pokemon, her Gloom, before fighting the 7th gym. It evolved into the pure Grass-type Blossom, which would come in handy for the next gym fight. Sarah's plan for Tate and Liza involved taking advantage of Cradley's high special defense, which meant it could tank most of their team's special attacks. She also wanted to take advantage of Substitute, a move that Kecleon had just learned recently. So she leads with T and 5th, and sets up Amnesia and Substitute on the first turn. Unfortunately, Substitute gets broken by a single Earthquake from Claydol, and the Claydol doesn't stay confused and always attacks, breaking through its confusion. Luckily, Kecleon can do some decent damage before T is brought way too low and has to switch out. Claydol goes down, Blossom comes in, and almost dies immediately to a bunch of Psychics. Sarah's really glad that she trained its special defense a little bit. All along, Cradley's doing massive damage, but she ends up having to sacrifice a Pokemon. She had picked up a backup Oddish on one of the routes before, and it comes in, eats a massive attack, and goes down for the good of the team. Thank you for your sacrifice, Oddish. Swampert switches in on Solrock's Flamethrower, and uses Protect to stall out a Solar Beam while Cradley goes for the kills. Then, it was just a matter of finishing off Xatu, and that was Sarah's 7th badge done. Before Sarah could challenge the 8th and final gym leader, she had to team up with the strongest trainer in all of Hoenn, Steven, to take down 2 massive criminal organizations. All in a day's work, right? Sarah leads with Alpha while Steven chooses Metang. A single Surf takes out Camerupt while Alpha gets hit with a Scary Face in return. Steven's Metang can then easily deal with Mediana while Alpha protects. Another Surf takes out Maxie's Camerupt while Steven keeps killing Mediana left and right. Sarah then switches into Mirage, whose high defense makes him a safe bet against Golbat and Crobat. A few Rock Tombs and Slashes finish off Team Magma, who can only hope have finally learned their lesson. On her way to confront Archie, Sarah finds the TM for Earthquake just laying on the bottom of the ocean floor. What a weird spot for this TM. Anyways, this TM's great to pick up, it's going to be really useful later on. Archie is a bit of a pushover at this point in the game. Alpha can hit Mightyena with Surf, drop it to low health, and then hit it with one more Surf to finish it off. Switching into Celio and hitting an Ice Beam is enough to take out Crobat, and then a switch into Blossom to hit one Magical Leaf takes care of his Sharpedo. After that, Maxie shows up, tells Archie that he has been a bit of an idiot, and then we leave the cave. Back in Sootopolis City, Kyogre and Groudon are fighting. Sarah tries to calm them down herself, but quickly realizes that's not going to work. So she goes to find Rayquaza, who can calm down Kyogre and Groudon. Rayquaza knows exactly what to do, comes to Sootopolis, calms down the children, and they go back to sleep. Now Sarah can finally get to the things she's been trying to do this whole time in battling the 8th gym leader, Hoenn. The one last thing to do before battling Hoenn is to level Prophecy up enough so it evolves into its final form, Walrein. Now she's ready for Hoenn. Sarah had what seemed like a flawless plan against Hoenn. She taught Blossom Sunny Day from a TM she picked up just outside Fortree City. Since Blossom has the Chlorophyll ability, its speed is doubled in the sun. And Solar Beam doesn't need to charge up when the sun's active, so Blossom can just hit Solar Beam and hopefully kill all of Hoenn's Pokemon. That was the plan at least. But things don't go quite according to plan. Blossom is able to take care of Hoenn's first 2 Pokemon easily, just as we rehearsed. However, Kingdra starts to set up Double Team, and this is what Sarah was afraid of. Kingdra is able to survive hits from Solar Beam and set up all 6 Double Teams, meaning Kingdra now has maximum evasion. So, what does Sarah do? Well, she tries her best and tries to kill the Kingdra, but when she figures out that's not going to work, she decides that the only thing she can do is stall Kingdra out of all of its PP and let it struggle itself to death. Now remember, this isn't a hardcore Nuzlocke, so Sarah's able to heal her Pokemon as much as she wants, and her Pokemon are able to stall while Kingdra slowly kills itself. What a dumb battle. After that, Blossom has 2 PP of Sunny Day left, so it can come back out, set the sun, and finish off Hoenn's last 2 Pokemon with its last 2 Solar Beam PP. What a battle. Sarah thanked Hoenn for the battle and took the shortcut from his gym directly to Victory Road. Then, the only thing standing between her and the Elite Four was the battle with Wally. And poor Wally, he never stood a chance. Prophecy took out Altaria with a single Ice Beam. P2 dealt with Roselia with a few Sludge Bombs after Wally wasted a full restore. 5th took basically no damage from Delcatty and KO'd it with 2 Earthquakes. Then T came out against Gardevoir and easily got the win with a few Shadow Balls. And then, after tanking the Future Sight attack, T switches out to Mirage, which secures the victory as a single dig dealt with Magneton. With her eyes set on the Elite Four, Sarah just had to make some final preparations before taking them on. Sarah was worried about the composition of her team heading into the Elite Four. There was one Pokemon in particular that she didn't really have a plan to use and she didn't want to see die. So, after getting her through so many tough battles along the way, Sarah decided to let Prophecy the Sandslash have an early retirement. Sandslash's typing is redundant with Alphas and isn't favorable against most of the Elite Four. And she doesn't want to risk his life. Instead, she picks up Destiny the Electrode from the box and starts training it up. To maximize its training efforts, she trains against Spinda and Slugma, and then against Golbat here. This will make Destiny super fast and hit really hard, which is what Sarah's gonna need if she makes it to Wallace. This is Sarah's team's stats and held items before taking on Sydney, the first Elite Four member. Note the experience share on Alpha so he can get to level 52 soon and learn Earthquake instead of Mudshot. And here's her team's movesets. Sarah has a plan for each member of the Elite Four, so let's get straight to it. Sarah chooses Prophecy to lead against Sydney because he doesn't care about Mightyana's Intimidate and can take out Mightyana in one shot with Ice Beam. Then Prophecy can do the same against Cacturne. Fifth comes out against Absol, hits it with Confuse Ray, and then starts using Giga Drain and Earthquake. He doesn't take too much damage and Absol goes down. Then, a switch back to Walrein to Ice Beam the Shiftry, and a switch back to Fifth to Giga Drain and crit Crawdaunt, and that's Sydney defeated, just like Sarah drew it up. Next up is Phoebe's Ghost types, and now it's T the Kecleon's time to shine. On the first turn, she sets up Substitute while Dusclops just protects. Safe behind the Substitute, T just has to use Shadow Ball for the rest of the battle now. 2 take down Dusclops, 1 drops Banette to like 1 health, and after Phoebe heals, another brings it back down to the red, and a third takes it out. Sableye starts to use Double Team, but T just hits Shadow Balls through the Double Team and sets up another sub once the first one breaks. Shell Bell is keeping T healthy while she tears through these ghosts. The second Banette meets the same fate that the first did, and finally Phoebe is down to just her last Pokemon. Sarah switches to Prophecy to secure the win. Dusclops can barely touch Prophecy, while a combination of Toxic and Ice Beam can easily take down the Dusclops, securing Sarah the win. At the end of this battle, Alpha hits level 52 and learns Earthquake, so Sarah can swap the experience share for a Soft Sand for later. Against Glacia, the Ice-type specialist, Sarah was finally able to show off Destiny, her newest team member. It gets off a light screen to start the battle and minimize ice and water damage, while Celio sets the hail. Then Destiny resets the weather with Rain Dance to get rid of the hail and to make Thunder 100% accurate. Thunder is then an easy one-hit KO, and T comes in against Glacia's first Glalie. T can use super effective Ancient Power to do more than half, and a second Ancient Power is more than enough to take down this first Glalie. Destiny can then come back out against the second Celio and outspeed it and one-shot it with another 100% accurate Thunder thanks to the rain. Since the second Glalie knows Explosion, Sarah sends out Prophecy to Toxic the Glalie and trap it into Hail with Encore. Now T is safe to come back out, hit Agent Power for really good damage, and watch Glalie slowly die to poison damage. For Glacia's ace, Walrein, Sarah switches into Prophecy. Glacia's Walrein knows Sheer Cold, which is a one-hit KO move that never works against an opponent who is a higher level than you. So, not wanting to risk anything, Sarah decides that the safest strategy is to poison Walrein with Toxic, tank Walrein's attacks, and stall it out by using Rest. This is a safe, but pretty boring strategy that works perfectly. Sarah does have to fight through multiple full restores along the way, but again, this is really safe thanks to Prophecy's tankiness, and eventually Glacia is defeated. Next up is the last member of the Elite Four, Drake, and his powerful Dragon-type Pokemon. Sarah's strategy for this fight started the same as for Glacia, lead with Destiny and set up Light Screen to reduce damage. Then, switch to Prophecy, who should be able to decimate Drake's dragons with Never Melt Ice boosted Ice Beams. Prophecy takes a bit of chip damage on the switch, and then easily takes out Shelgon. Salamence hits a Rock Slide, but Prophecy shrugs off the attack and strikes back with a one-hit KO Ice Beam. Altaria lands a Double Edge, but again barely damages Prophecy, who retaliates and one-hit KOs it with Ice Beam. Against Kingdra, Prophecy sets up Toxic and Encore before being taken too low and having to switch out. Because Kingdra is locked into Body Slam, switching into Fifth, who has the Rock typing, makes sense. Fifth hits Kingdra with Confuse Ray before being crit and paralyzed by a Body Slam. Luckily, 5th's next Giga Drain hits, and Kingdra goes down to poison. Prophecy is too low to come back in and deal with Flygon right away, so Sarah sends out Alpha. Alpha protects on the first turn to scout Flygon's attack, and then gets hit big with an Earthquake. And then Alpha's Earthquake misses because of Flygon's Levitate ability. Can't believe Sarah forgot that. She risks a crit to heal Prophecy, and then sends him back in to finally finish off Flygon with one last Ice Beam. On to the champion. While preparing for Wallace, Sarah taught Kecleon Thunder instead of Ancient Power, just in case. She healed her Pokemon, took a deep breath, and entered Wallace's chamber. She had a solid plan for Wallace, but this would be her biggest challenge yet. She leads Destiny against Wallace's Wailord and goes for Thunderbolt right off the bat to minimize damage from Water Spout, which deals damage based on the percentage of health Wailord has left. After Wallace heals for a turn, Destiny gets a light screen up and hits another 2 Thunderbolts, killing Wailord and taking minimal damage in the process. Wallace sends out Gyarados next because it knows Earthquake, but Destiny's faster and can outspeed and one-shot it with a 4 times effective Thunderbolt. Wallace goes for Whiscash next, and Sarah switches to 5th. 5th hits Confuse Ray, while Whiscash goes for Amnesia, and then 5th starts loading up on Amnesias also. After 2, 5th hits a big Giga Drain to regain health, and it's now that Sarah realizes that she forgot to restore Giga Drain's PP before the battle. Her plan was to stay in with the +4 special defense Cradily, but now she needs another plan. She ultimately decides to stay in against Wallace's Milotic and heal 5th because his special defense is just so high, and then spends a turn using an Elixir in the middle of the battle to restore PP. 5th gets off a 3rd Amnesia and now barely takes damage from super effective Ice Beam. Giga Drain can keep 5th pretty healthy as Toxic and Ice Beam damage chip away. Sarah uses a full restore to cure 5th's poison before he can start attacking with Giga Drain again. A few more attacks takes out Wallace's ace. 5th stays in and hits an Earthquake against Wallace's next Pokemon Tentacruel before taking too much damage. Sarah switches to Alpha, who easily finishes off Tentacruel with an Earthquake. Wallace's last Pokemon was Ludicolo, the monster from Andrew's Nuzlocke. This time though, Sarah had a plan. Blossom has not had to come out against the Elite Four yet, but she finally made her first appearance for this fight. Sarah set up Sunny Day with Blossom to nullify Ludicolo's Surf damage, and then started hitting 1-turn Solar Beams. They did good damage, and Ludicolo could barely do any damage in return. Blossom was ready for this battle, and didn't miss a single Solar Beam, even though Ludicolo set up some double teams. Wallace used a few full restores, so this took a while, but Blossom was never really in danger. Even if Blossom had started missing due to Ludicolo spamming double team, the plan would be to stall Ludicolo's attacks here with Moonlight, and then switch to Electrode, who can set up the Rain, and then start hitting perfect accuracy Thunders. So the win was in the bag at this point. Blossom hit one last Solar Beam, defeating Ludicolo, the duck-faced menace, and winning Sarah the battle and the run. Sarah ascended to the Hall of Fame room with Wallace and took her rightful place as champion of Hoenn. But where was Aaron? Hadn't he defeated the champion? Wallace let her know that he left for more adventures almost immediately after becoming champion, to someplace called Kanto. Well, Sarah decided she would hang around and be champion for a little bit, awaiting her next challenger. And that is the end of my first successful Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed Pokemon Trainer Sarah's journey to become Hoenn's champion. Thanks again. I will see you next time.